Welcome to a video trip report for the West Fork of the Hood River. This is one of my favorite runs. It's just really high quality whitewater. The issues are that the put-in's a little challenging, as we see here. There's a couple portages and the takeout's really tough. So if you don't mind a lot of work like this, you'll enjoy the run. If this looks painful to you, don't even bother because it's way harder than this. We'd already walked the cataract maybe like 100 yards just to get it in that position. So this is my friend Nick. Nick is rowing. I was there helping him out, and I was kayaking along. So I was there that day, but this is him rowing. And he's putting in, this is actually the lake branch of the West Fork. And so he's putting on, the current's moving pretty fast, so he has to basically push off and go get right to work. So again, when you do the West Fork, you put in, this is the lake branch, but you only go a couple, like 100 feet. And we'll see down below, right here on the right, that's the actual West Fork coming in. But when you launch, you usually put in there on the lake branch. And we're going to show all the major rapids here. If you want to run a river blind, I applaud you. I like doing it that way. I don't like watching videos before I go. But this is for those of you that want to see what's happening, especially from a cat boat point of view before you run the river. And we'll try to fast forward like this through the slow parts so we can just get to the whitewater. It's a pretty straightforward rapid. That's me down in the green kayak. So if you see my mediocre abilities, you can give me a hard time about it. So this is a nice little warm up, and then we head in. If you see downstream, there's a really beautiful Basalt Gorge, and so you can put them below the first portage. I'll show you that in a little bit. But the real nice thing about putting it at the lake branch is rowing through this just stunning gorge. And one thing you'll notice here, Nick he's using pins and clips. Nick was a spinny guy for a long time. He still is a spinny guy for multi-day trips. But we were running a lot of hard stuff that week, and he tried pins and clips out and really liked them a lot. And so he's using them here in the West Fork today. He has them set correctly right now, where when you're rowing, the oar's in front of the pin. We'll see later on he switches it after the portage. But what that does, when you see how he's shipping right there, it brings the oar closer in. So it's easier to ship with pins and clips too. And so below this Basalt Gorge, this is where there's a wood portage. So in a cat boat or any kind of raft, this portage is really tough. It is not pleasant to do this portage. So just note this is the spot, and this is medium water levels. It's a little tricky catching this eddy. Somebody's going to have to get there first. And in a raft, luckily I was on a kayak. I could just pull over, get out, and grab him. But if you're just rafts, stopping a boat in this eddy right here is going to be tough. And there's lots of branches, so we knocked over the GoPro, of course. And here we are. We lined the boat down. It was a pain. There was a lot of wood along the bank. Portaging, actually getting the boat out would be tough too. There's all kinds of trees and things. So we, slowly lined the boat down the river, but it was a challenge. And so you only want to put in this upper section if you like this kind of challenge. And physical work. We were trying to push it past this branch. We did, but again, knocked the GoPro over. But below the portage, Nick put in pretty quickly below the portage, and you can see his left oar is down, how do I say this? Like on the wrong side of the pin. Before they were right. Now his left oar is on the wrong side of the pin, which is something those of you that run pins and clips will care about. It's not a big deal. I mean, it works, but it's harder to ship because now your oar is further away, when you shut that left door. And this is the end of that Basalt Gorge. This is just a fun little section through here. Not only is it fun, it's just beautiful. And so probably worth the effort of portaging that logjam. But some of you that don't like that kind of thing would probably disagree. So there's that cool little rapid. And then this next rapid, there's a sort of hidden river-wide hole that you just kind of have to power through. It's not a big deal, but you have to run this hole. There's not really a way to avoid it. I generally hit the right side like this, but got to power through. And notice Nick looking back. That's just good form. Nick's a great boater. He's always looking out for other boaters. He's positioning himself well. Right here, there's typically wood. There's not wood now, but it's definitely worth paying attention to wood that gets trapped in this little canyon right here. So catching eddies is important. Nice ship on the right. He's going to struggle shipping his left oar because it's going to be, again, on the outside of the pin. It's going to be really, his arms have to be long. Below here, there's, a couple miles of class 2, 3. This is a bridge you drive over on the way to put in. You kind of saw it there for a second. You can put in at this bridge. And so if you just want to do the lower section and skip the portage and the Basalt Gorge, on the left, just below this bridge, you can put boats down in the water, which I'd recommend for most people. It's, again, that last portage is annoying. You can see like a little ramp down in the river. Not very difficult. But we are in the middle of this section. Like I said, it's like a mile and a half, 2 miles, something like that, of just fun boogie water. It's little surf waves here and there. And we just kind of powered through it. Sometimes wood gets caught up. There used to be a log right where we just passed. So we're always looking out for wood, staying to the inside of turns, catching eddies here and there. So this is after the portage. I didn't get any video of the portage, but there's signs even that say fish ladder, watch out, portage left. It's a pretty easy walk, and maybe it's like 300 feet. It's not tricky, but you basically walk the boat up and around to fish ladder, and then put in. And so below the fish ladder portage, the action gets, as you'll see, it's just rapid after rapid. This section is amazing, and this is really the heart of the West Fork. This first rapid below the portage, most people consider the most difficult because it's long. The entrance, there's a few tricky things here and there. The bottom's a little tricky. It's just a long rapid and amazing. Nick didn't take his oars off for that last portage, so he probably didn't notice again that his left pin's on wrong, but again, not a big deal. And watching Nick row, I really like that he's using a nice combination of pushing and pulling. Sometimes he's pulling moves, sometimes pushing, based on moving around, but also space. He wants to create the right spacing with me. I'm pretty far ahead at this point, but ideally he's trying to catch up in the rapid. And I feel like as you're learning to row, sometimes you have to speed up based on the rest of the boat. So he has to run this rapid faster than he normally would. He's pushing through this stuff now to kind of catch up with me. In case I swim, then he can power down and get me. Kayaks and cats move at much different paces. And this bottom part gets a little tricky sometimes. There's a few holes you gotta miss. And he's pushing into the eddy, which is fine because it's an easy eddy. But as eddies get more difficult, I definitely recommend more pulling into eddies. And we had a few other kayakers with us, so we're just waiting for them. So right in this rapid, right around here is when you want to start getting to the right. There's a pour over hole on the left, like I mentioned before, and hopefully he saw me do it, and he's gonna pull this move, like pull away from the line of danger, because you know how important it is to get hard right. Nice job. You can see that pour over hole right there. I've seen a lot of kayakers get messed up in there, and I haven't seen a raft flip there, but I know that they can. And lots of little easy rapids like this. This one's just fun. It's another little easy rapid. Nick saw some wood, so he's pointing to go left. Super smart. This rapid actually has caught a lot of wood in the past, so this is one I'm really careful on. The wood's not that bad right now, but there's been some big logs in this rapid. So now we're heading into the area near Greenpoint. I love this section of the river so much. So I flew the drone. You'll see some drone footage here in a second alongside. But Greenpoint Creek comes in the left, and there's just a series of back-to-back rapids. I'm not sure if the rapids have been named or not. There's the drone footage. I just call this the section near Greenpoint Creek. And yeah, I wish I had drone footage of the whole run to do this with. It's pretty cool, very time consuming to have a GoPro and a drone out there, but a pretty cool angle for me to look at afterwards personally. And so that was a nice little warm-up run. Once you pass Greenpoint Creek, there's just a few rapids worth paying attention to. The drone footage is nice for watching him square up to all the waves. Or all, yeah, the little wave hole things. I guess we call those laterals. He's squaring up to all the laterals. So Nick's going first. He doesn't know the run. It's really cool. He's having to figure it out on his own for the first time. There's multiple runs here. There's just a lot of holes you want to miss. And power through some of these laterals, some of these big waves. Great line. And just below here, you can see in the drone footage is one of the hardest parts of the run. It's not that hard, but if you go into that big hole on the left, it'll easily flip a cat. It'll hold on to a kayak. I've seen kayaks surf there for like 10 minutes. I've seen catboats flip there. So you really want to be careful here to go right. It's very tempting to go into that hole and surf it and mess around, but it will definitely cause havoc. You can see the kayak again stand pretty far right. And below here is just a nice continuous section of whitewater. It's really fun. This is the end of it. It's just waves and holes, and it's just a good time. And in this section right here, it's so continuous that, flipping or swimming is not a good idea. This is a place where you want to stay in your boat. It's not super hard. It's just very continuous. It's nice to have tight boat spacing, look out for each other in case somebody did swim. That's a great example of pulling away from danger, right? He saw a rock he was going to miss. He didn't try to push past it. He pointed at the line going to it, and he pulled away from it. That was a great example. Again, he's being very conservative. This isn't a place you need to push. This is a place where if you see issues, pull, slow down time, pull away from things a little bit and get back on your line. And this long section kind of ends with one final steep spot into an eddy on the left, which will eddy out and just go to check out the next rapid coming up. So you'll notice that Nick thinks about pushing into this eddy. He's getting a little complacent, I think, and quickly realizes he can't. And, anytime there's strong current like this and you need to catch an eddy, I really feel like you should be pulling into them. There's micro eddies you can push into, but in this case, this was a pull, and he makes the right decision to switch because he wasn't making it on a push. This next rapid's really fun, just squaring up to some laterals, kind of getting tossed around. And we're entering the final gorge. This is there's like about a half a mile of just kind of back-to-back rapids through here that are really fun. Just nice little drops like this one. Nick didn't need to ship there, but it's good form. It really helps. When that blade is forward, you can power through waves better, so it's kind of nice to do. And this is the final rapid. When you see the bridge across the river, you go through this really cool basalt canyon. This rapid is just full of waves and holes, and you're just kind of like fighting your way through. Again, does a nice job of shipping his right oar so he doesn't smack it on those rocks. Uses that left oar for control. That's just good rowing. So after this rapid, this is where most people take out. There's a waterfall thing here called Punchbowl Falls. You could portage it. You probably don't want to run it. If you portage it, you can keep going, go down to, all the way to town if you want to. It's another like 12, 15 miles to town and take out in Head River. But it's a couple hours and it's a bit of work to keep going. So most people take out here above Punchbowl Falls. So you want to know where this is so you don't accidentally run the falls. But you pull over here on the right, and then we're just going to carry the boats up the hill on the right. So when you see that concrete down there, that's part of a fish ladder. That's when you need to know, like, pull over. There is an eddy. It's not massive. You don't want like 5 rafts coming in at once here. And just downstream, that's Punchbowl Falls. And the takeout here is tough. I mean, you have to carry the boat up a big, steep, grassy hill or a narrow trail. 4 rafts. This is why many people don't do it. It's a lot of work. We actually pulled Nick's boat up onto these rocks and then took it apart, undid all the parts and carried things up one at a time, because getting a whole boat up that hill is just a lot of work. So anyway, thanks for joining. This is the West Fork of the Hood. Hope you guys enjoyed this. If you liked this video, make sure you hit the like button. Think about subscribing to our channel. And yeah, thanks again for joining.